I think early on, my goal was to be a Mr. Rogers meets Mr. Beast. I want to be like that fun, educational, kind, wild, a little bit of everything and sprinkle that Vegas glitz and glamour on it. And that's Big Head Bob.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 101. In this episode, I speak with David Bradley Schnitzer. David is the author and creator of Big Head Bob, and you can learn more at bigheadbob.com, but it's an incredible children's book series, a character he's created. It's amazing. David is also a very dear friend of mine, and we traveled to Las Vegas to have this conversation with him, and it was phenomenal, to say the least. If you want to watch this podcast, be sure to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. If you want to listen to this podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Here's my conversation with David. David Schnitzer, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
It's an honor. Long time coming.
We're here. This is actually, I didn't know how this was going to happen. But the way this has happened, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah, it's all about timing. That's what we were saying. It's all about timing.
The only thing, I wish I would have brought my orange turtleneck to Vegas, but that's it. That's
My brother asked if I should wear, what you're gonna wear. I said, I bet he's gonna wear a turtleneck and a suit. I mean, I watch your podcast, so
yeah.
I knew.
I think it's appropriate you're wearing Big Head Bob apparel.
This is Japanese Bob. This is Okina Atama no Babu. That means Big Head Bob.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the play for that? You just to reach a global market, or?
When I first started writing the book, I have a friend through living in Las Vegas, working at Wynn Resorts, that works with Happy Madison, and he called during the pandemic. He's, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I started my own operations marketing company. I'm working with the adventure kayaking new business, and I'm writing a book for my nephew." He's like, "Oh, send it to me." I was like, "Okay." And so I sent it to him, just pictures. There was one illustrated picture. Everything else was hand drawn by myself, 8.5 by 11 paper, folded in half, stapled. And I started writing Big Head Bob, and he thought it was amazing. And he's like, "This is great. Is it going to be television or film?" And I remember, I'll never forget this. I'm sitting on my couch watching TV, looking at my phone. I'm like, "Is this going to be television or film?" I'm like, yeah, I'll make some YouTube videos, and I see it being television. We can go from there. But he was the first person to kind of put it in my ear that it could be more than just a book. And one of the things he said is, "I foresee this blowing up in Asia." It's a very cute character, kind of anime type, and this could be really big in Asia. So you have to get all the social media handles for Big Head Bob. You have to get the website. You have to translate it in different languages. And I'm just taking notes. I'm like, if this guy who I met while we were filming Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 at the Wynn, which, by the way, was good and made, hundreds of millions of dollars, I don't know. If he thinks that this is a good idea, it's probably an amazing idea. So that was kind of the story about how I started translating it. And even doing that was pretty difficult, but we can probably get to that later.
Yeah. Well, I have so many things. I've been really waiting for this conversation, because what you've done with Big Head Bob from the beginning, has just been incredible. So
thank you.
Maybe we start there. Part of me is like, well, maybe we start with our Las Vegas history, but we can revisit that.
We'll get there. Yeah. It's a good point.
So tell us all the story of Big Head Bob. How did this idea come about from where it started to where it's at now?
My mom is an artist, and she was very fashionable, artistic, and we would do arts and crafts all the time. And I love art and drawing, but I don't feel like I'm great at it compared to an illustrator or an animator. I can't quite do what they do. So when I was younger, I would advance from stick figures to just a bigger and bigger head. And then as big as the page was, that was Big Head Bob's, which I called him Bob at the time. His big head, googly eyes, small little nose, and one little curly hair. And so that was something that in my heart and in my brain just clicked and said, haha, that's funny. I like that. I'm going to keep doing it. I drew it through elementary school. I drew it through high school. On my brim, I found a picture of Bob on the inside of my hat when I was 15. At the Bellagio, even actually in my dorm room in college, I drew it on my whiteboard on my door. I just see a Bob as I'm watching my old videos. And that was during the pandemic. So I realized, I'm like, oh, even, I say this a lot, like at the Bellagio in the art department, my office was there until the pandemic. I worked at MGM for 2 years and I was the executive director of operations. So we're working with different artists and different lounges and restaurants. And I went to the art department and, they were like, here, this is our whiteboard. I drew this is Bob. Ha ha ha. Everyone thought he was cute. And during the pandemic hit in March, my brother had a baby in June. And I just had this motivation to do something for my nephew, Joaquin, and make him proud. And I didn't know exactly what that was. But when I digitized my old college and high school tapes, I saw Bob 2 or 3 times. So I was like, oh, I could take this character, fun arts and crafts project, write a little book for my nephew. Cool. We have nothing to do. It's a pandemic. Vegas is shut down. So that was kind of the conception of, okay, I'm going to do this. And what took it to the next level was talking about guys like Digby from Happy Madison, or my very close friend and mentor, Felicia, at The Simpsons. And so when she did the same thing, just checking in, are you okay? What are you doing? Marketing operations. I'm writing a book for my nephew. Oh, cute. Send it to me. I was like, okay. And so I sent it to her, and I didn't even think at the time, but they look at conceptual art all day long and they develop it, and that's their career, but they do it on the highest level that you could ever imagine, at the greatest, arguably, cartoon of all time, longest running, most successful show, The Simpsons, and Happy Madison, Adam Sandler's. These are my childhood idols. So when they say, it's a good idea, or, do it, Felicia said, do it in Spanish, have like civil servant Bobs, make a firefighter Bob and a police officer Bob and Bob for president. And I do it and I make it. So that was how I first came from, okay, I'm doing this book, but maybe my intentions could be a little bit more. And I thought that 150 sales in my lifetime would be a huge success. I told my family that. Within 3 days of publishing, we surpassed 150 sales. And I said, okay, I guess, doing all these people favors and setting up these parties and events in Vegas for 12 years kind of paid off. So that's kind of, again, people are rallying around what I'm doing. It's a great concept. Bob's big head is a metaphor for our kind of perceived differences, physical, mental, weight, anxiety, anything you can imagine, everyone can relate. And the story is about how do you identify that difference, or some people say imperfection, and how do you communicate about it, and how do you transform it into something positive. So that's really, again, as I'm putting the book together, I feel bad because you haven't gotten a chance to speak, and I'm just going off on the story.
You can talk, keep going.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that interjection.
What up, Eric?
What's up? Check
you.
1 2.
Check 1 bitty back. Yeah. So I think I started to gather like feedback from people and say, oh, okay, this is actually something that everyone can relate to. And when I published the book, of a childhood friend from high school, she was actually a freshman, I believe, when I was a senior in high school, is now a teacher in elementary school and has kids. And she messaged me, I love Big Head Bob. I got your book. My kids love it. I brought it to school. Would you ever do a guest visit? I was like, yeah, like come down there. No, virtual. I said, what do you want me to do? She's like, just get on a Google Meet or Zoom or Teams and read the book to the kids and they'll ask you questions. I said, yeah, that's amazing. Okay. And so I did that, and the school tweeted it out. They said it was amazing, great experience. 3 other teachers asked me to come into their school. And then there was just snowball effect where I had sent the book to a friend who gave it to Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's my childhood crush. I'm sure yours as well. And, everyone's high school crush. And Jennifer Love Hewitt shared it on her story, like 3 or 4 stories. I think it was like 5 or 6 stories. She just, this is book, Big Head Bob. And the next one is like, here's the little doll. And here's stickers. And it's a good cause. He's donating to charity. So that did increase my sales, but it also, more importantly, reached a teacher in Canada who said, I see that you post about going to schools and doing virtual visits. Would you come to Canada? And I said, absolutely. And so I went to this teacher's virtual classroom and they put me on the big board and projector and I shared my screen. I discussed the concept behind Big Head Bob. They said, it's like social emotional learning. This is perfect. And I was like, yeah. And then I Googled social emotional learning. I'm like, oh yeah, that is exactly what Big Head Bob is. So that teacher was raving about it. She's like, the kids were so energized. We're on the computer screen all day. Like, this was a break for me. I love this. Can I put it in our teacher boards and in our Facebook group? I was like, yeah, of course. I don't know what that means. And within the next week, I had about 150 plus emails from teachers around Canada asking for me to come visit. And so I was at first overwhelmed because I thought, I can't do that. I want to do every single one. How do I reply to all these people? And I'm freaking out and I'm overwhelmed. And then it just kind of hit me. I'm like, this is what I did at Encore Beach Club. I was a director of VIP services. I managed the sales team. I looked through emails. I looked through numbers. Okay, what's the system? I have to get a Calendly account. I will respond. I will make an automatic email that I can send. Please tell me more about your, where you located, age of kids, etc. How many? Is it more the merrier? If you could do 2 or 3 classes. So I started doing that like Monday through Friday during the pandemic, all free. And serendipitously, on my 200th class, I got a tweet, a Twitter, now X, message from she was the art curator for the Ottawa Catholic School Board. She said, hey, I would love for you to come do something with our students. How much do you charge? I said, I would do it for free. I would love to be involved and show you what I'm capable of. And she said, no, we have a budget. If we don't spend it, we lose it. And you deserve to be paid for your time. Boo, light bulb. I'm like, I could do this for a full-time gig. Like, oh my gosh, okay. And so that was kind of the tipping point where I said, and again, the reason I said serendipitously was they paid me $200 on my 200th class. And that went very well. And then the school board did an entire group visit with 327 classes. So I had over 6,000 students on a Microsoft Teams call for 2 separate sessions, 3,000 in each. And I read the book. I showed them on Canva how I make a cover. I took questions. I played music. We played the dance game, freeze game. And it was just an amazing experience. And so that was really amazing, really special because I went from a whole year taking, to be in 200 classrooms and meet with 6,000 students to doubling it in a day and meeting with that many kids in 2 hours. And they paid me very well. And they bought, I think 200, or it was about 100 of these little dolls, Bob dolls, books. The teacher helped me translate the book into French. That still sells to this day. So it's been a pretty amazing journey so far. And we're not even scratching the surface.
Dude, I don't even know where to start. I do know where to start. Because I remember when you first launched this, I think it's when the website first was launched.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let me go check out David's site because I definitely wanted to get a copy. I'm like, let me get this. I go to your website and I can't remember if it's right out the bat but I'm like, okay, he didn't just write a book. He came out with an all-out brand, there's merchandise, there's a game, there's so many different components. Like the fact that you just, and it makes sense when you talk about the mentorship you had from the beginning.
Yeah.
It seems like you have a game plan. You have a vision of where this is going to go. You just didn't come out with the book and let's just see where it happens. Like, no, there's a full out brand, merchandising, everything with this. Like I immediately go, okay.
That's awesome. It was very organic. One thing led to the other, and I think it also mirrors my career. So I worked at Wynn for 8 years, and I was desperate, man. I came to Vegas thinking I'm this cool, lacrosse frat college graduate, and no one cared. Like, oh, what experience do you have in hospitality? I was like, I just graduated college. Like, oh, well, who are your references? My lacrosse coach and teacher. Like, oh, we're going to go with this, hospitality master's student at UNLV. And it took me a long time. I was delivering pizzas. I was promoting part-time. I worked in retail. This was a year and a half. And when I finally got the opportunity to interview at the Wynn, it was the best one I've had by a mile. And I really vibed with the person I interviewed with. And they hired me as their assistant. And through 8 years of being at the Wynn, my mentality was don't do anything stupid. Because I saw people getting fired for social media posts, intoxication. And I knew that this was a great opportunity for me. So I just busted my butt. And throughout the 8 years, I had 6 different positions. Part of that was because people got fired or quit, but doesn't matter because I continued to rise up over the years. And every time I moved from executive assistant to public relations manager to director of marketing to director of VIP services, director of customer development, I would connect the dots from the departments. And people just didn't do that. And I was very good at it because I feel like I was friends with everyone and I wanted everyone to have fun and have a good experience. That's why we work in hospitality. But when doing that, you kind of lose yourself because you're focused on other people. So I always had that in the back of my mind, like I'm taking care of everyone else except for myself, but I'm happy because I'm taking care of other people. So that makes me happy. However, later in life, you figure out, but I think that, when I moved from marketing, to where I would be managing the photographer, the videographer, the graphic designers, creating billboards, fighting with the hotel. Like we would be doing these, 21 or older parties and the hotel would say like, no, that's too sexy. And we're like, we're a nightclub or we're a day club. People are in their bikinis. So we had to find that happy medium and I was the middleman. And so when I went from marketing to managing the sales team, that was when I said, we have amazing marketing and we have amazing salesmen, but there's a disconnect. So I set up a meeting once a week to talk about the events. Just stuff like that, where you just bridge the gap and then you introduce them. And instead of them hating the marketing guys because they don't have to wear suits and ties, and the marketing guys hating the sales guys because they're wild and fun or whatever, I think that I was able to connect the dots. And so I do see parallels with Big Head Bob where, okay, I'm writing this book, but then someone's telling me to make it into cartoons. So, okay, I'm making this book and now I also have a cartoon, but I need a website. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then why don't you work with college interns and then working with that? And then every curriculum I've been developing for almost 2 years. A downloadable curriculum course that we actually recorded at the PBS studios in Vegas. And it was freaking so hard and it took so long and still I haven't made any money and it's cost me thousands of dollars, but it's unreal. And that has led to activity books and journals where kids can do these amazing activities that I developed with a student at Duke University, so I get to do all these amazing things. And it's kind of what we were talking about where I actually have this graphic. You can put it up if you have it. It's a Bobtopus or Octobob. And it's Big Head Bob. And he has all these tentacles in different avenues. And live events is a big one. And, social media is one. And so you kind of see one feeds into the other. And that's what I learned from my time in marketing was someone can see a billboard, but they're not going to think about it. They can hear it on the radio. They're still not going to think about it. They see it on social. Oh, what is that? Their friend tells you about it. Now you have to go because you've heard about it 4 or 5 times. So I feel like if I get someone to read the book, even walking into the Rio today with this doll, a little girl stopped and smiled, and I gave her a sticker. I was like, this Big Head Bob. I'm like, they're laughing. It's a cute little guy. I love him. It makes me happy. So I recognize that like people love stickers, and I think I have like 40 different stickers, and that's a whole thing, but that's my spiel for now.
Well, no, I'm glad you gave that couple things. First of all, from what you're telling me, your experience in Las Vegas nightlife, that was a full-out education, a doctorate, if you will.
Yeah.
8 years to prepare you for you to steer your own ship here with Big Head Bob.
Yeah, well, 10. And then the time prior, just figuring it out and being a fly on the wall. I used to go into Tao when we were friends early on, and I would introduce myself to the doorman, and I would write down his name. What's your name? Oh, Kenny. All right, cool. Then I would go up the stairs. I would introduce myself. What's your name? Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy. And then on my phone, I would write down, guy at the stairs, Jimmy, entrance. I don't have a great memory, and that's a good analogy for Big Head Bob. Transform your weakness into strength. So the next second and third and fourth time I go up, Jimmy, what's up? I've remembered his name because I looked at it twice. But the third time he's like, that guy knows my name. I like him. And so that was a way where I met people early on. So it's just been, in a way, a game, kind of just figuring it out, seeing what fits. I've gotten more rejections than I ever have in my entire life. Going from Win for 8 years, I have a Win email. If someone from Beats by Dre or Apple Music gets a cold email from someone at the Win, they're like, Vegas, or Win Resorts, Drake was there, Calvin Harris, Marshmello, like they know what that is. But if I reach out now, no one knows who the hell I am, and they don't care. But it is such a great opportunity for me to get rejected, swallow my pride and ego, and come back. And, this is even a recent one where I have a licensing agent, and, we got rejected from Scholastic. We had a meeting with Penguin Random House. We haven't heard back yet. We have a meeting with Insight Editions. They love it. They're going to send it to someone else. We were rejected by, I forget what, it's a huge, like Hachette or something. It's a big company. And I said, my response was, well, at least they know who we are now. Because the next time they see us, or their kids will say, I love Big Head Bob, or let's watch. They'll be like, hey, didn't I reject that person? They can come back to it and we can do a deal later on. So I don't really take it personally, although it's difficult. I kind of love it. I don't know why. I like it. It's my life's goal to it's not really proving people wrong. It's always been my mentality to put my head down, win people over, do the right thing, and then people ask me for help. I don't want to have a literary agent fighting for me and calling all these publishers and publishing houses. I want to get in the news and be in front of 25,000 students, which I already have virtually, and then them say, we need this person. Hey, David, we're interested. Oh, we saw you on Fox 5 Las Vegas, which I was just on because I had a publicist help me, and it was fun. I was way more nervous than this. So I'm happy to be with you. I just want to pause and comment. Your attire is always on. And today especially, you look like a sexy sailor.
Oh, yeah.
Businessman, sailor's boss.
Yeah, no. And well, thank you for that. I love your shoes, by the way.
Yeah.
Those are stylish.
Saucony, bro.
Yeah.
The panda, something like that.
I'm loving this so far because a lot of this podcast, we talk to entrepreneurs and actors or people that are pursuing something. And I've recently coined my thing, produce your passion, which you are clearly doing. I mean, you're on your purpose. You're on your passion. There's a mission with this. And I like to call, his name's Captain Ron. He came on here. He called it the messy middle of entrepreneurship. Because whenever you launch something, it's like, yeah, we're launching it. We're doing it, right? Yeah. But then when you get past the honeymoon phase,
it's next.
And now you're just here.
Yeah.
Which you're past the honeymoon phase.
Big time.
That's when I feel the real work comes into play. Like it
Yeah.
really, so how do you keep going through that? You know, your mental battles or hurdles that you have to do to keep pushing yourself and keep the brand going, staying motivated.
I feel my first kind of like big aha moment was when I went to the LA Times Festival of Books. We had a booth and it was expensive and I had to drive down with a car full of stuff. My whole family came to support me and they put me in the young adult section. I emailed them right away as we got the map. Hey, this is a kids company. Can we be moved to the children's area? Oh, we're sold out, but there's no bad spots. You're fine. And I was just like, I was very worried about it. And I realized that we were on the walking path to class. This was at the University of Southern California. So at the USC campus, all of these college kids, unlimited amount of college kids kept passing by. Hey, do you want a free sticker? Yeah. Do you want a free bookmark? Yes. Oh my gosh, I want to buy that. I'm like, you can buy it online, but that one I wore, so I'll sell it to you for less. And they're like, oh, that should be worth more. It's author worn. I was like, okay, cool. And then people that passed by that didn't come in, they still looked and said, Big Head Bob. Like they thought it was funny. It sounds funny. It's odd. It's weird. And it was just like, oh, the books are for kids, 5 through 10, kindergarten through 5th, 6th grade. But maybe the merchandise is for young adults, college kids, parents, my friends. And then I started realizing that like there is an unlimited opportunity of content to develop, music, poetry, books, curriculum for schools, live events, virtual events, games. Like that's just 8 things that the entrepreneur and creative in me is just like, we could do this, we could do that. And it's really fascinating. So I don't get bored. I want to continue making the best products and experiences that I can possibly make it. And that's the cool thing about not having a publisher is the book could be done, but I could actually add 2 new pages if I want. And I don't have to ask anyone. I could just change it out on KDP or Ingram Spark. So what keeps me going is one, understanding the unlimited opportunity potential, you know, and again, if one domino falls, they all fall. That's how I feel about Big Head Bob. And then the second piece is the reaction. Actually, it's probably more than this. The reaction from people is just unbelievable. I had a plumber come to my house. So what do you do? I'm like, oh, I used to work on the Strip. Now I'm making kids' books. What's it about? I have a kid. It's about this character, his big head, you know, his difference. And it's about how do you transform your weakness into strength, called Big Head Bob. And he goes, I have a scar on my back and my arm. And like, I've always been self-conscious about it. And I never like to like talk about it or show. That's my big head. You don't just go to someone's house and say like, this is what's wrong with me. I thought it was a beautiful thing. And I have one more very similar to that hopefully I won't cry, but maybe the viewer will cry. I don't know. So I went to this school in Vegas, school assembly, around 400 kids. And this, you know, it's interactive. So I'll read the book, I'll play music, they'll dance, they get to ask questions. And this one student asked, are you ever going to write about more serious topics? And the teacher's like, oh, that's so mean. You know, and I was like, no, it's a great question. Like what? What do you think I should write about? Like death or disfigurement or something like that? And again, like teachers, oh, I could see it. And I said, which would you prefer? And he said, maybe like disfigurement. I said, okay, cool. Thank you. That's a great question. Teachers came up, like one of them's like, hey, that student's autistic. I said, I thought it was a great question. I have no issue with it. There's nothing that a 4th grader can say to me that's going to bother me. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. And so a year later, the principal asked me to come back and same thing, did the thing. Hey, is this student, do you remember that whole thing? Everyone's hush, hush. And yeah, he's excited. You're going to be here. He's in 5th grade now. I said, okay, cool. Do you mind if I bring him up? Because I have a new book and I want to kind of tell him a little bit about it. And she's like, yeah. And so I brought him up. I said, do you remember what you asked me last year? He's like, kind of, but not really. I said, you kind of challenged me in a way to write something about disfigurement or death. And I always thought that Bob's big head and his eyes and his one hair is like, a difference, but I understand what you're saying. And I thought of you when I wrote this third book. It's called The Bob Squad, a story about inclusion. And it's Big Head Bob, Long Neck Lisa, Blinky, the one-eyed cat, and Stinky, the smelly dog. And they're a whole squad now because they're all, and he goes, "Can I say something?" I'm sure. And I gave him the mic. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But in front of 400 people, teachers, students, friend, he goes, "The reason that I asked that question is because my brother's at home and he's a low functioning autistic and he can't really live his life the best of his abilities. And I'm a high functioning autistic. I'm also on the spectrum. And, I realized a lot thanks to you and Big Head Bob that why not stand out in the crowd? And like, that's actually my superpower. And thanks to my friends like Aiden and I was welling up on stage. I've never in my life had seen anything like this. I've never experiencing someone be like, "This is what's wrong with me, everyone." And not only will he remember it for his whole life, but the entire, faculty and students will remember like this kid's owning it. And it just, I think it's the empowerment where I'm like, I got to do this forever. I could do this in any classroom around the world. And I hope that, they actually recorded it and posted it on Facebook. And so I clipped it and I debated for a long time sharing it because I feel like it's personal. But I asked a bunch of people who are like, no, the school shared it, so share it. And you can ask the principal if the student would, or parents would approve it. Everyone's fine with it. I shared it on social and it's there. You can see it. And it's a beautiful thing. So things like that, experiences, opportunities, it really keeps me going. I've said it before, like I've made a lot of money working in day clubs, nightclubs, restaurants, shows. I don't spend a lot. I've invested it in stocks and mutual fund and Amazon, and I don't have all of it now because I'm 2 years in without making any money. Actually, year 4. I'm now in year 4 of my business. So I know how much it costs, and it's difficult and it's stressful because I'm like, all right, well, 6 months left until I have to get a different job or I get a loan or I had an offer for someone to purchase a percentage of Big Head Bob. He tried to Shark Tank me. He's like, "I'll give you $100,000, give me 5% of your business." And I was like, that's like $2 million. And I asked Felicia, I asked a bunch of friends, mentors, my good friend, John Redman. He's like, "Yeah, it could be worth a lot more. And you don't really know this guy." And I was like, "He's on the board of psychology in this state and he has mental health clinics and it would be good. But if I'm trying to do a television show and sell merchandise, I also, again, opposite side is like, what's 5% of nothing?" So it's a good plan B or C, but I think I kind of ran past your question there earlier.
No, dude, this is, so you're saying you got 6 months till you have to make a decision?
I would suspect I have a year, but I'm not going to take that year. I don't want to owe that much money. I have so many, I think I counted like 6 huge opportunities that will change my life forever and make Big Head Bob a potential collaboration with NASA to make clothing and merchandise.
With like an astronaut helmet?
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah. That's from the licensing expo. Someone came up, what's the other one? There's Adventures to Learning, which is a website subscription service that schools use. They want to put all my stuff that's on YouTube on their website and then also potentially have sponsors create new. So there's so many different opportunities. There's, also separately from NASA, US Space Force and Air Force. I spoke with someone about doing events because all of the kids, they move around a lot and that's very difficult. But I said, that's a superpower later in life. You're able to be flexible and meet new people. And you're like, yeah, but at the time it's painful. We could make illustrations, cartoons, books, content, videos. Like, I think that's a great opportunity. So those are some of them. And the big ones are big. If I strike a deal with Penguin Random House, that's massive. If I am able to work with Happy Madison and produce something with Adam Sandler, like that's life-changing. So I am a very optimistic realist. I know both ways. When I pitch someone, I expect them to decline it. Secondly, of course, I expect them to say, Big Head Bob's the coolest thing ever. I love it. I love the flexibility. He has no gender. Oh, he's male. He has no ethnicity. He has no religion. It's just, this is the story. Everyone loves it. It's beautiful. And, I just am excited for it to happen, but it hasn't. But it's all about timing, and it's all about the right people. And I'm a firm believer that when you do get rejected, those people are doing you a favor. They're pushing you in a direction with someone who's going to, oh my gosh, I'm going to champion this. I don't want to work with someone who doesn't want to work with me or have the same beliefs of like what it could be or what it should be. So that's why I love Big Head Bob.
Well, thank you for sharing that and being so transparent, because I think it's really important.
Transparent.
Yeah.
Big Head
Bob.
Well,
maybe because like I was telling you, I mean, dude, I've gone all in as well too. Like, but it's freeing.
Mm-hmm.
It is like when you start thinking logically, like logic, we just got to kick that out sometimes because logically it doesn't make sense. But it's like, but no, this is working for other people and trying to find other words. It's like, man, why don't you just put all that energy into yourself or the thing you want to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I am so aware of when we would have Marshmello come in and we would pay him, I don't want to say, I'm sure you could Google it, a lot of money, like not 10,000, not 100. They pay Marshmello so much money. And there's a lot of DJ producers who, again, they earn it. You wouldn't be there if you didn't belong there. But as someone working there day in and day out, like, can I get a $10,000 raise? Like, no, we have to pay this guy 200 grand. I know that's not how it works. Payroll's payroll. But I felt like, in a way, I could do that. I can't DJ. And that's one of my most favorite things about Big Head Bob is there's a singer, Kaylee Foster. And she, early on, I worked with her at MGM my last 2 years. She goes, I love Big Head Bob. I love what you're doing with it. He's so sweet and it's fun. And I said, I love your voice. Like, they play Kaylee's music at T-Mobile Arena during hockey games. Like, she has an amazing voice and she's super talented. And I said, would you want to make a song together? She's like, yeah, absolutely. I said, okay, concept. We all have our differences. How do you transform it into something positive? Okay, and go. I can't sing like she does. I can't play music like she does, but I can be on the same level and I can produce and I could take what she gave me and say, okay, if you want feedback, I'll give it to you. Yeah, of course. All right. You don't have to change anything, but instead of saying good and better, you could say big and bigger, because we never say Big Head Bob. So like, I could do good for me. I'm like, I could do big for me and, I want to do it bigger. So the song is called Bigger by Kaylee Foster. Now it's on Spotify. It's got like 70, 80,000 views on YouTube. And I swear the first time I listened to it, I cried. I was like, I can't believe that something so beautiful was made with the intention of just like Big Head Bob. And the character that came from a childhood imagination is like a full-on beautiful Disney song. And so I took her video or her audio and I hired an animator off of Upwork, which I had like 174, I'm pretty sure, because I just looked recently, contracts. 174 times I've hired someone from all over the world. And they animated it and it was painful, but it got better and better and better. And I paired up the audio with the video and it's beautiful and it's done and it's there forever. And that's what I think is really amazing is, yeah, sure, I could die tomorrow. Big Head Bob will live on forever. My nephew will always know that this was made for him. And I think that's pretty sweet.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and another point I was going to make, before I forget this, what I think is really interesting when you're talking about your mentors with The Simpsons, with Happy Madison Productions, correct? I think it's good for people to realize, like, because so many people are like, oh, put me on, man. Or if I just meet this person, everything's going to change. What I think is very interesting, I think's commendable, and I don't know the inner workings of all your conversations with them, but you have these people at big places, highly successful, but they're like, okay, we like what you're doing, but that doesn't mean, hey, here's $10 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing the work.
Yep.
You have guidance as you're going, but you're really earning your way with this. And I think a lot of people just have that instant gratification, like, oh, if I just meet this person and they like what I do. I've made it. It's like, I think it's a great for people to realize like, hey, even when you know certain people, if you're not doing the work,
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen, because these people, they've already made it and they have, like you said, billions of other things they're looking at.
Yeah.
So you really, I think it's awesome that you have that guidance, but you're still that bootstrap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't necessarily want to say, can you do this for me? I want to say, I'm working on this. Oh, I love that. Can I do this? Or let me think who I should introduce you to. One of my friends, John, he's my mentor. I actually call him Yoda. Love him with all my heart. Met him in Vegas. Nicest guy in the world. Kept coming back. Had a great rapport. Went to his house. He has 10 Emmy Awards. 10 Emmys in his house. He's a very accomplished, amazing human being and works in television. And I'd be like, hey, John, can you get me a show? It's not like that. It's just, this is what I'm working on. He was the one who sent it to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Because of him, I blew up in Canada. I don't think he even knows that, but I've been in over 1,000 school classrooms around US, Canada, and Australia. Huge chunk. I want to say like 700 to 800 are in Canada, because he gave the book he gave me the address. I sent a note and a bunch of Big Head Bob swag to Jennifer Love Hewitt. She shared it. A teacher in Canada reached out, and bada bing, bada boom, So I think my relationship with these people was actually, I was kind of helping them out. When I first met Felicia, a friend didn't even tell me. So, hey, I have this friend, Felicia, take care of her tonight at the Wynn. Okay, cool. Came in. Hi, nice to meet you. It was really sweet. Yeah, here's a round of drinks. Oh, thank you so much. I checked up on him, said hi, talked for 2 minutes. Here's another round of drinks. Oh, thank you. Upon leaving, she didn't text me. She didn't want to say goodbye. We ran into each other. Hey, you are so sweet. Thank you so much for taking care of us. This place is amazing. Here's my card if I could ever return the favor. And I looked at it and I looked at her and I looked at it and looked at her and I looked at the camera and I looked at The Simpsons. She's like, oh, are you a fan? I'm like, it's the greatest show of all time. Like, it's my childhood. Yes. And she goes, oh, you should come to a table read. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Like, yeah. Came back, had my number, got to know her a little bit more. Come to the table read, third time. Yeah, you still haven't come. Okay. And then when I realized in year 8 that I wanted to do for myself what I'd been doing for everyone else for 8 years, I want to take care of myself. I want to write a list of what I want to accomplish or do in my life. I want to write a list of people I want to visit. I want to, write a list of things that I want to accomplish, mentally, physically. And I realized some of these offers may explode. So I'm going to take her up on that. So I reached out. I said, hey, my brother's birthday's coming up. Would we be able to come see a table read? Absolutely. Like, how many people do you want to bring? It's like, how many people can I? She's like, as many as you want. I was like, 5? She's like, sure, no problem. So 2 of my best friends from college who lived in LA, one of them worked in television, and again, just both super fans. And then both of my brothers. So the 5 of us went to the Fox lot. We went in, we sat down at the table around, where all of the actors were. This is pre-COVID, and they don't even do this anymore. So they had a live table read of the script that's going to be basically shown on television in like 8 months. So I got to go to the table read. I closed my eyes. I'm like, I'm at the Simpsons dinner table. I'm listening to them speak in their voices, and it's what an unbelievable experience that was. But again, to be able to see at the highest level how things work or operate is a huge inspiration for me. I don't take it for granted, and I'm also inspired by it, and I also can call back to it. So, you never know who's going to help you. Just like I said, when I would take a note of the security guard on the stairs, he became a manager. And I've known him for 4 years because I was nice to him because he was on the stairs where everyone else walks up the stairs. Oh, security. Hey, okay, cool. Bye. You're like, oh, I was nice to the security guard. I was nice to the bussers.
Well, one thing before I forget this too, that I wanted to say, and I'm not the only person that thinks or knows this of you. There's several that do. Your level of professionalism, kindness, and the way you carried yourself in Las Vegas nightlife. To me, it was second to none. Like you were the class act in Las Vegas, and you definitely helped me get in the door more than one time.
That should be the intro.
And the Midwest Vegas boys.
Oh, that was a good time in life.
I had to throw that out there.
Yeah,
real quick.
Man. When I first moved to Vegas, I had no friends. I moved only knowing my brother Neil. I moved here to live with him, and you're one of the first people I met that I was like, I like that guy, because everyone else either wants to take advantage of you or they want to take advantage of you, and and I didn't, we're Midwest guys. We're polite. We're nice. We care. And that's kind of the stereotype, of course, but that's us. We want to have fun. We want to play basketball or be, so I appreciate that. I think that kind of came from a background, and same thing, dipping back into working with kids, is I was a summer camp guy. I got kicked out of summer camp. I'll get into that in a minute, but I grew up going to, Jewish summer camp, all religion summer camp, all boys camp. I tried a bunch of different ones, and I did at Camp Shy, which is the one I got kicked out of, for stealing CDs. So back in the day, CDs were like $18. So if you steal a book of CDs, you steal $500, $1,000 worth of stuff from people. So I got caught, and they kicked me out, and I begged. I'm like, I'll clean. They're like, no, for your safety, like, you have to go home. And I volunteered in a retirement home. And it was a tough time because I was like 16 going into sophomore year of high school. My brother was a senior when I was a freshman, Brian, and Brian had graduated, and I'm like, I don't know who I am anymore, And so I stole. But I love music, so my head was in the right place. I don't know what it was, but anyway, 2 years later, they brought me back as a camp counselor, and that taught me a lot about second chances, about life. It's like, even though you strike out, like it could work out better than you ever imagined, and I appreciated it that much more because it was taken away from me, and this was my life. But I also, to this day, can't steal anything because I don't want to get kicked out of summer camp again. Yeah.
That's going to be the title of this episode. Don't get kicked out of summer camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do get kicked out.
Or do. Yeah. Do get kicked out of summer camp.
It's summer right now.
It's so hot in Vegas, 105 degrees. I feel bad for my dog, Molly.
It's been really hot in LA. So I already knew.
Sweaty, though.
I already knew. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Midwest guy right here, too.
Where you from?
Ohio. What about you?
Suburbs of Chicago, Northbrook.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends that moved to Chicago right out of college and stuff. So I had a lot of good times visiting, and nothing but great things to say about Chicago.
It's where in Ohio?
I grew up in a town called Troy, and then I lived in Columbus for 10 years.
Sounds familiar. Dang, Columbus. There you go. Welcome to Vegas.
Hey, happy to be here.
Well, and it is true. Like, I have found myself, whether in Vegas or LA, like, you just get drawn to Midwest people. It's just like a natural thing.
It feels like home. Yeah. I will say, man, you seeing you talk, and your name pops up, it feels like home. It's like home is calling. Like, hey, buddy. Yeah, I can say anything in the world to you. You will not judge me. You'll give me a straight up. I'll tell you, I wanted to go down a road.
And likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise. I can do the same to you. And again, I cherish those days, because when I first came out here, we'd meet up and play pickup ball at UNLV. Yes. And then we go to Whole Foods in Town Square and, pay $25 for a salad bar.
Oh, it wasn't that much back then, was it?
What mine was.
Yeah.
I loaded it up pretty good.
Yeah.
But then you'd be like, hey man, well, we got this thing, industry nights.
Yeah.
Whether it was at one of the clubs or whatever, like industry night, come on through. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I'd come on through. And
you never bought a drink, did you?
Huh?
You never bought a drink, did you? Why would you need to?
Well, I think I definitely did, but there were definitely times I did not.
Yeah, I gave a lot of drink tickets, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you were also friends with everybody. So people would Enrique would give you drink tickets. My brother
Shout
would
out
give you
to
drink
Enrique
tickets.
Gomez, dude. Is he
Good
still in
peoples.
Vegas?
I think so.
Okay, that guy. Yeah, you and Enrique, man, you two, and then Ryan Pineda, Moa,
Did well.
all of us at the Rat Pack House coming through. I mean, those nights were truly special, and it was pre smartphone era.
Yeah. May have had a BlackBerry
Yeah.
or a Razor
Yeah. Yeah. Parking was free.
everywhere.
As Eric and I were driving in, I was actually playing some Midwest Vegas Boy songs and,
Wow.
just feeling nostalgic. And I'm
The
like,
mirror.
yeah,
That's all I remember.
I'm like, back in my day.
Your Kool-Aid shirt. You always had all the cool shirts.
Yeah, but yeah, the graphic T-shirts, the Ray-Bans. I'm like, back in my day, we didn't pay for parking at the club like we
Nope.
were at the casino. The 15 wasn't this backed up. I sounded like an old man.
Tropicana is a mess, but we'll get off of traffic and back onto whatever's. But yeah, man, Vegas is any person that you come here with is a different experience. If you come with family, if you come with a girl or date, if you come with a bachelor party, a divorce party, to come see shows, to a Golden Knights game, a Raiders game, it's always a different experience. And what I found fascinating about working on the Strip is you meet an unlimited amount of people. There's 20,000 people that would go through the day clubs and nightclubs that I worked at for 8 years, where I worked 6 days and 3 to 4 nights, voluntarily, of course, and happily. It's just that there's always people that have never been here, and it's always a new experience. And I went from seeing these DJs that would play, the same set every single time. We're like, this is the third song, this is the fourth song, but the crowd doesn't know and they don't care because it's the hits. And I was more interested after maybe 2 or 3 years, like, oh, I want to see Diplo because he always plays a different set. I want to see the Chainsmokers because I now only care about the crowd reaction. If the crowd's insane and pumped and happy, I care more about like the music that's playing. But that's just neither here nor there. I don't know. I just told you.
Well, and I loved it too, because I remember there'd be nights where like, hey, and this is when Diplo was like on the rise.
Yeah.
I saw him multiple times. All these guys, like, because it was such a special time. It was Steve Aoki.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the DJ was starting to become the star.
Yeah.
Instead of the performers.
2011, 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see like that rise of that, and to be on the, especially probably from your perspective.
Big time. I have a pretty strong college intern program where I work with students 3-6 months on average. And I often tell them that I've seen so many DJs, producers, acts come and go, rise and fall. Calvin Harris was this like kind of goofy, Scottish, shy DJ kind of singer when he started, and we're paying him, I don't want to say, but it wasn't a crazy amount. Fast forward a year, he's an underwear model dating Taylor Swift. It's like, okay, Marshmallow's this like kind of quiet, nerdy white guy. Fast forward, he's wearing a double diamond Rolex watches and bands and like tatted up. And it's been crazy to see the meteoric rise of people and pretty big crashes of people just whatever happened. Oh, they were a DJ, they weren't a producer, they weren't making their own music. And I kind of felt like I could learn something from each one of these people, what to do, what not to do. So I wasn't really aware that I was studying them like that, but that's all I do. Like I look around the room. If I'm talking to one person, you bet your ass I'm looking at you. I'm seeing you in the corner of my eye. And that's like a habit. And I don't know if that's weirdness or curiosity or hospitality, but it works for me. Like if there's a group of 5 people and one person's not, quiet, I'll like shine the light on that person. Like, what's your deal? You're the wild card of the bunch, are you? And like, and everyone starts laughing. You're like, oh, it was easy.
You remind me of the quote, you make everybody feel like a somebody. And when you were saying about Las Vegas, because you are exactly right. For some people, they've saved their entire year to come here. This is the first time they've ever been here. Sure,
Yes.
you see it every single night.
Yeah.
But that's person. It reminds me too of the quote of Michael Jordan when they're like, man, why do you just go so hard all the time? And he said, because I know that some dad brought his son to tonight's game and they saved all their money. He worked overtime.
Yeah.
And this is the first time and probably the only time they're ever going to see me live.
Wow.
Yeah. I even got goosebumps saying that because it's just like
true.
He understood it's more than him. Like
Yeah.
they're coming to see you and they're coming to those. I mean, dude, the win alone is just globally, like you said, when you send something from a win email, everyone knows the win. And actually, it's so interesting, your story too. And when you're talking about how you're always observing, I think you had to be that way to be able to be successful in those situations, because it's nightlife, right? You said, like, people are drinking, people are probably not behaving the best at times. And you being in that situation, I credit really was a good lesson for me is when I started doing videography and stuff in those settings. That's when I really stopped drinking a lot, drinking completely, because you couldn't drink and do that.
Yeah.
So you were forced to interact in those situations, and it built. Anyway, that was a side note, but
no, it's awesome.
But I feel like you, especially being around so many high-profile people, you had to be paying attention.
Yeah,
you got to know what's going on, and you have to be able to interact. I'm sure all the personalities were different too. I'm sure some people were the coolest people in the world, and some people were like, "Wow, I couldn't say 2 words to that person." Yeah, I don't know, but so it's just, I just love hearing that journey through that, because of what you're doing now with this, and now you're speaking to thousands of kids and inspiring people through your book, and even utilizing some of those relationships, not asking for anything, but people, oh man, let me help. Like, they want to help you. Like, that
is something that Felicia has gotten on. He's like, now it's time to, it's like, in a way, collecting or tasting the fruits of your labor and being able to, like, hey, is there someone that you can think of? Because that's what people in sales are really good at. They don't mind. They don't think that they're being annoying. I, for some reason, have that, and it's been a struggle to get past. But as I manage the sales team and watch how they work and learn and grow, you do have to ask, but you have to know what you're asking. That's one of the things that I've really learned. When I first moved to Vegas, I had an opportunity to speak with almost like a vice president or a president of 9 Group, which was, they ran the Palms, all the cool, and it was the coolest place in the world. And I sent him an email. I was his kid's camp counselor. And so the kid's like, oh, my uncle, it was uncle, I'm sorry. My uncle will get you a job, no problem. I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Ah, you're good. And he brought it up again. He's like 12. So I'm like, I don't. But then he's like, yeah, I talked to my dad. He said that, you could have my uncle's emails. Okay, cool. I guess I got a job going to Vegas. Sent him an email like, hey, I'm David. This is my resume. I'm so interested in working with you. I love what you do. I've read all about your venues. And he's like, oh, okay, what would you like to do? And I said, anything. Like 3-paragraph email. I bust my butt. I'm a good student. I want to do this. I could do that. Whatever you need. I'm around. I'm available. I'm eager. And he just never responded. And I assume that it was just way too much. I could be wrong, but I feel like if I said, I want to be in marketing, he could send me someone's address that's in marketing. I want to be a busser at the club, could do that. So that is kind of something I'm learning as we go, is if I do get someone from Happy Madison or from The Simpsons or someone that I admire, what is the ask? And you have to be very careful that you're not ruffling any feathers, and also take the chance and ask. Why not?
I love that. I feel like you just tied a bunch of ideas together, because 2 things we've been talking a lot about on here is knowing your boundaries and knowing your intent. But I think you just added a final piece of it, like, what's the ask?
Yeah.
That's like, I just had an epiphany. You're so right on that. Because if you do get in front of these people, if you do get that opportunity, are you just gonna be like,
hey, I want to work with Adam Sandler. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you have a pitch deck? What's your experience? Send us the one sheet. Like, okay, I just want him to work with us. I don't know. But it's like, no, I want him to voice Big Head Bob. Or I want his kids who just produced So You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, which is an amazing movie. I would love to work with his kids because it's for kids. I've been thinking about, I write it out. And this actually, great story. I won't say at what hotel I was working at. It was one of the greatest business lessons you can ever have. So I was working this one night at the podium, and I was on the computer. I had an earpiece in, which wasn't often, but I had an earpiece in on the radio, texting, WhatsApp chats, people asking for me. I'm running around. And I get a text from the boss, one of them. And he's like, who's on this table? Okay. Who's on this table? You fucked up. This is embarrassing. And I'm looking, I'm like, huh, what? I said, where are you? I'm going to come talk to you. And I was fuming. I went down there and he's like, you put the wrong table with the wrong people. There's balloons. And so we had to move these balloons. And I was like, okay, I can move it. No problem. And he's like, yeah, you need to come down here more often. I said, okay, got it. Thank you. And that was it. And I walked back up. I'm like, I'm going to quit. I'm doing this person a favor for being here. Like I was helping out this venue. I worked at a lot of different venues, one in particular. And, you know, I saw my old boss that night, happened to run into him. I was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I never complain. I got to say something. I have to ask. So I'm like, here, look, this is the text conversation. You can read the whole thing. I went down there. The balloons were on the wrong table. We had to move the balloons to a different table. And he goes, you know what you have to do? Because it's been years of this. You know what you have to do? And he smiled. He goes, you have to write down all the things that you don't like about him and read them to his face. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'm telling you, it'll be the best thing you've ever done in your career. I said, okay, not yet. I need to digest, but yes, I will do that. Because I was going, oh my gosh, even worse. I was on vacation. I came in that night, even though I'd taken the day off to help out. So I was on vacation. I went to Chicago to a friend's wedding. I was very angry. It ruined my vacation. I started writing the list of things. I wrote out, you're an asshole. You do this. You don't care about people, blah, blah. This happened this one time, blah, blah, blah. And then I started taking that paragraph, and every period I would start making into a new sentence and enter. So it would be like, kind of like a list of 10 things. Any really mean one, I removed. All the negative ones, I tried to make into a positive. So it's like, you ruined my vacation. You can't say that. It's because you said that to me, I was in a horrible place mentally, and my vacation was not enjoyable. Instead of you ruined my vacation. It says the same thing. One is a little bit more positive in a way. So I wrote it that way, and then I condensed it into like 4 bullet points, really short. And when I came back, I scheduled a meeting. I sat down with my binder, with my notes. I kind of just glanced at it. He didn't know I was reading from it, but I said, you cannot text me that stuff. I'm not the type to go to HR, but I could very easily go to HR, and this is a huge problem for you. You know what I mean? He's like, I texted you sorry. I was like, you don't need to text me sorry. You don't need to text me at all. You know, that was one thing. And I went through this list, and it was the most freeing thing. And he's like, this is the most stressed I've ever been in my life. I don't know. You know, I can't yell at anyone anymore. Things have changed and blah, blah, blah. And he respected the hell out of me. And it was a really great learning experience of like, there's the right time to speak to someone about a sensitive subject, and you have to understand how they want to receive it. No one wants to be told they're wrong. No one wants to be told that they messed up, but I do. I want to know if I screwed up, and tell me in a way that I won't feel bad, but will motivate me to not do it incorrectly again. That's my management style because I've had both, right? So that is my good story about work.
You're just dropping gems tonight, man. You just came in. I know we were talking about Big Head Bob, but geez, you just pulling. I mean, I love it.
We were going from interns.
You know what's interesting about that exercise, and correct me, I could be wrong, but I would think by writing it out like that, there were probably some things you thought you were maybe mad about that once you wrote it out and thought about, or did it change your perspective on it maybe? Like,
I think I changed my own perspective on it based on trying to turn the negative into a positive. It's like, you can be evil to someone. You know, I have this animation that I play in every Vegas school. It's when I come in and start, you know, I say, can you guess how I'm feeling? Like, excited, happy. I'm like, yeah, and sometimes nervous. I'm like, yes, I'm so nervous. It's my big head difference. I get nervous. I get anxious. It's like generational trauma passed down. My grandparents were in the Holocaust. My dad probably had a difficult childhood. Pass that on to me. And I don't want to pass that on to everyone else. And so when I'm trying to say, this is how I feel, it kind of frees me of it a little bit. And I say, I have another big head difference. I get hangry. Does anyone else get hungry and they get angry and you get hangry? Everyone's like, oh, I get hangry. I'm like, we don't want to be mean just because we're hungry. I'm like, do you want to see what you look like when you're hangry? And then I play this video of Big Head Bob basically as like, you know, King Kong climbing the stratosphere in Vegas saying like, I'm hangry, rah. And if you're able to make light of it, you could recognize it in your brain when you get to it again. So if you're constantly yelling or being mean because you're hungry, you could at some point recognize like, I'm not angry, I'm hungry. And if I could communicate that, everyone will be better off. And it's like super duper simple, but that's kind of the same thing as really breaking down what's going on in your brain and just identifying it or addressing it, and you kind of feel better. You know, saying like, yo, you ruined my vacation. You sent me this stupid text that I could totally use against you, but I'm not going to. Like, what am I trying to say? I'm not trying to say I could use it against you. I'm not trying to say I want to get you in trouble. I want you to never send that to anyone again. That's what I want. Okay, I didn't know that. I actually still to this day, I never thought about that. I don't want him to talk to people like that via text. Hopefully that one-on-one conversation in 10 years, I don't know how many years ago, helped him too, you know?
Yeah, good.
I wanted to talk about intern program.
Let's talk about it.
So I was trying to find a publicist, I think in year 1, 2. And I spoke with someone in Vegas, and it wasn't quite the right fit, but they said, hey, you work with these, you know, kids and schools. Why don't you reach out to UNLV? They have like, and get an intern. And again, light bulb. I'm like, I ran the intern program for 2 years at the Wynn. It was really fun. So I reached out. I had to apply for this program called Handshake Online. After a while, I got approved. It was painful, but I got approved as my business. And I posted a position like sales and marketing intern, post. And then it said, would you like to send it to other schools too? And I was like, what the heck? And I looked, I was Johns Hopkins, Duke, Oregon, UNC, like Berkeley, NYU, like everywhere. I could have put my job on all these other places. You have to get approved at each one. But over time, my score went from 0 to 100. And I started posting, and I would get these college students, freshman through senior, masters, graduates. And I would say, what is your interest? What is your major? I have tasks to go along with that. So if someone was a PR major, I would post public relations intern for Big Head Bob, and we would work together, screen share, and come up with plans. And I've had over 40 successful completed internships over the past 2 years. And it's been so much fun. And like from a goofy standpoint, I'm just doing shit that I don't want to do. I'm forced because I'm on an hour with someone and I have to do a task. That's one. But also two, I love bridging the gap from like child to adult where there's always something to learn. And I say it's a choose your own adventure internship. If you're focused, I hired a student from Duke who I mentioned that we did an activity book together. And the role was artificial intelligence, so AI, sales and marketing intern. And I spoke with him. I said, what's your experience? I can code. I like using these generators, blah, blah, blah. What would you want to do? Maybe like some sort of workbook for kids. And I was like, yes, that's been on my list for like 2 years. So we drummed it up. He used like a maze generator, word scramble, all these things that you don't really think is AI, but it is. And we used a couple of different ChatGPT to generate some text. And then we go over everything. We design it together. It took a long time, but now it's done. And I have like a 38, 40-page activity book that it's pretty awesome. I mean, you got to see it. So I love the intern program. And I think that, you know, a lot of times people will say, I wish I had something like this when I was a kid. When you think about it, when we were all kids, someone would come to our school and maybe have a guitar or something. We'd get like a tape or CD or like a book. Now, after I visit these schools, the kids will follow me on TikTok, they'll subscribe on YouTube, and they'll see every piece of content that I put out there. And it's pretty mind-blowing to think of it like that I could have a fan for like kind of for life. So I think that's pretty exciting too. And it really is about timing, where when I started the whole project, super organic, super slow but sure, but it was during like, no one was going on Zooms and Google Meets. Instead, like this is what I do every day for hours. I'm on calls, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of meetings with people virtually. A student in Shanghai, she took a semester abroad, so I would speak with her in Shanghai at like 6 in the morning for her. That was the time we could make it work. But it's just been really amazing to meet all these people from all over the world. And the first assignment I give people is a research. Google the crap out of Big Head Bob. I care a lot less about what you like about it, what feels good, what looks cool, and more about what sucks and where are the opportunities. Oh, I go to your website and the homepage, like, I don't know what this is. Oh, we should put up a mission statement. Oh, I go to your events page, but like, it's just a bunch of videos. What is it? Okay, let's put, hey, we've been in over 1,000 school classrooms, art gallery events, virtual, in-person, all this cool stuff. So everyone gives me a fresh perspective, and it's like the future generation, So I think it's so cool to tie into these college students. We've done some amazing on-campus like tours with Big Head Bob that I still on TikTok. There's a UCLA student tour that it has like 8,000 views or 7,000, but still gets likes every day, 2, 3, 4 that people are looking at this and like, oh, this is what UCLA looks like. And who's Big Head Bob? And then there's ones where people will do campus interviews. One of my most successful videos is student Jason at USC. And we emulated that on University of Chicago, NYU. Hey, I'm from children's book series, Big Head Bob. How do you transform your weakness into strength? And it's just like a man on the street interview, and it's really sweet and sincere. And I love the direction that it's going. I can't wait for it to like be so big that, I don't know. I just can't wait for it to be so big.
Big Head Bob. First of all, I need that. Like the
the interns
program. We were talking on the way here, just having that ability to have people look at you, because when you're in it all the time, you can't see the forest through the trees, like, because you look at it every day.
Yes,
you talk about it every day. But when you bring an outsider in that just goes, oh yeah, you should totally change.
Yeah,
and then you look at it like, oh yeah, maybe
you're right, 100%.
Why didn't I see that?
Yeah, there's different perspective, different age, different demographic. Like, it's a great idea, and you just include more people. And it's like a slow grind. If you really think about it too, some of these students are like 21, and in 3 years they could have kids and they could be buying Big Head Bob books.
So that's your master plan.
Aha! Hey, I pay. Everyone is paid. So it costs a lot.
You've worked with 40 interns. I knew you had 42. I didn't realize it was 40.
I work with 5 to 10 at a time, and it's 1 or 2 hours a week.
See, that's
super
what I
easy.
mean, man. You have an organization here. Like
I do.
And you're flushing out these systems, and now okay, this is how we work with the interns. Eventually, I'm sure you're going to have employees of some kind.
Yeah.
Whether contractors or straight employees. I mean, yeah, it's happening, brother. It's already fun.
Happening. It's exciting. I can't wait to see where it goes. I have a strong feeling that I could do it for the rest of my life. And my brother Brian he's very, again, optimistic. He's like, this could blow up when we're 50. Like you could just get a different job if it doesn't work out, and at some random point some person could find it and just like, this needs to be a movie or film or blah blah blah. So I'm not mad at it, and I'm very aware that my life savings is going to this. I have a line of credit with family, and like, I don't want to owe anyone money. I want to make people money. I want to sponsor this podcast. I want a Big Head Bob. Hey, this is brought to you by Big Head Bob. Here's a link in the subscription, and I give you $5,000 or something. I don't care if if I make any money off of it.
10 grand.
10 grand.
Yeah, we're gonna need 10 grand.
All right. No, if I win $5 million, you will be my first. You will be my first.
All right, we're gonna clip sponsor, that right there.
You'll be my first sponsor. I would love to. That's the thing is
buy us a few more months at least.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. So we're good. We're in a good place. I'm hyper aware that like you don't make it if you don't try. You know, these DJs that I've seen making 40 grand in 3 hours, or 400,000 or $1 million in 3 hours, 5 hours, they need to take a shot. And I honestly, it's a weird statement. I don't care if I go for broke on this. If I spend all my money to create amazing content that will live forever, I'll get another job. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up again. It's not a problem.
Well, and you said it earlier. The thing is, first of all, it's tangible assets. Not only do you have your online material, but you have actual physical product.
Yeah.
So this isn't going away. Everything's set up. So Brian is exactly correct. Shout out to the full Schnitzer brother trio, by the way.
Good boys.
One day I'd like to have all three of you in one spot.
We only did 2 one time, right?
We did 2.
Yeah, we did a little interview.
You and Neil, and then we did Brian separately because we couldn't get everyone. But the day that we can get everybody, that's what we do.
Yeah,
that would be great.
I like that. Brought to you by Big Head Bob.
Absolutely. But like you said, 10 grand. No,
just 10, if I have the money, I'm paying you guys. I'll have to sponsor a couple episodes for it to.
Because I'll just be open to you know what. As I'm flushing out, producing your passion, like you go through all these battles, and yes, there's the financial battle, but linked to the financial battle is the mental battle of the finances.
Yeah.
You really do have to, trick yourself isn't the right word, but you need to shift your perspective, and you have to go all in on things, especially if you're not, and to me, I've said this before, if someone were just to hand you a check in the beginning for this, hey, David, here's $1 million, go do it. I guarantee you wouldn't appreciate where you've gotten to right now. You wouldn't have learned
I'd appreciate it.
Well, what I'm saying is
I
the
know.
work that you've had to do and to do with less and to learn.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, sure, $1 million's great, but like the less, it's priceless in the long run for what you're going for long term.
Yeah, I said it a couple of times that I've never made a book before. I've never edited, illustrated, used Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, like Canva. I've never operated a website, made merchandise, had issues. It's been an unbelievable learning process, and I know how to do so many things, and I can help so many people, and I intend to, but you don't know if you don't try. And like back to the financial part, if I can give the viewer a tip, look at it every day, every week, every month, whatever you need to do. I go over my finances with my family, my mom or my brother, every month. I was negative $6,000 this month. I made $500 and was negative minus 6,000. Like that hurts. However, that $6,000 went to the licensing expo that I did. So I know it. I know what happened. And then also, what does that lead to? A potential relationship with Space Force, NASA. There's like Penguin Random House, Insight Editions, which there's sometimes companies, I'll give you another great business story. Ooh, this one's awesome. So my friend Adam Fair, he is one of the best promotions managers in town. And he's like, hey, you should ask Zed if he'll do a voice. Because I came out with this Big Head Bob festival cartoon on YouTube. It's Big Head Bob Fest. And he's DJing and the lights are insane. There's lasers and flags. And it's like crazy. And I was like, okay. And so I went to his set at Zook at Resorts World at like 2 a.m. because I didn't want to be there for 5 hours. And then he finished his set, came up. He's like, hey, this is a guy, I telling you about this guy. And he has these cartoons. He's like, do you want to show him? I'm like, hey, Zed, nice to meet you. I worked over at the Wynn too. He's like, oh, awesome. And so I showed, he's like, dude, this is sick. This is fucking sick. He's like, yo, this is fucking sick. Just like that. And I'm like, okay, hell yeah. It's like, I'll do whatever you guys want. Like, can you do a voice? I'll animate you. And you just be like, give it up for my friend Big Head Bob. And that's it. It's for peace and positivity and like Big Head Bob Fest. And so that same night, this random person tapped me on the shoulders like, yo, your shirt's really cool. Like, it's great. I'm not like hitting on you as a girl, and not that matters, but this girl is like, I'm not hitting on you. I love your shirt. Like, where's this from? It's material, blah, blah, blah. And we're talking. Oh, what do you do? She's like, oh, I work with like kids' toys. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. She's like, what about you? I was like, I make kids' books and cartoons. And, you know, and so we were talking, and she's like, I told her the stories and what it's about. And she looked at social. She's like, we're always looking for this stuff. It's my company, Spin Master. Never heard of it. I go home, I Google it. Holy crap. They own the license to like the Etch-a-Sketch. They produce Paw Patrol. They have like it's a huge company, huge, out of Canada. I'm like, I'm big in Canada. So I thought it was the sun, stars, the moon. I spoke back to Zed. I spoke to 12. I counted 12 people before I got a no. Hey, we're going to pass. Sorry. Thank you so much. Best of luck. This is a really cool project. We're going to pass. Fast forward 6 more months. I see Zed on Sesame Street, which I don't know if it's because I pitched them, but I would think maybe like, oh, if we're going to do something with kids education, like let's go to the biggest one versus new guy. But I don't know if that's for certain. I feel it. Back to this girl. Hey, I showed this to my boss. They love it. I think it's really cool. We want to put you in touch with someone from mergers and acquisitions. I was like, okay, they want to like buy a piece, but this is a huge company, so sure. And then they're like, we actually want to put you in touch with someone from the TV department. I'm like, okay. Then the next email was, we actually want to put you with someone from the TV and from the merch, so like the toy department. And then I'm like, okay. And then the next email was like, hey, we passed this around the office and it needs more development. And I was crushed. And I just very quickly felt horrible and realized, wait a minute, I didn't even know they existed 3 days ago. Like, who cares? But at least they've heard about me. And that's just such a good lesson of like, you don't know what's going to happen, who's going to lead to what. Both of those were no. If they come back to me, guess who has more power this time around? I do. Maybe. Theoretically, I feel I have more power. They passed on me, but now I'm big enough. Well, I'm actually, you know, thanks guys, but I'm good. I don't know. I'm open. Would you be open to working with someone that passes on you in the future?
Yes.
Yeah, same.
The old me, no. The old me would be like,
right?
Screw you, man.
Yeah.
But like, oh, no, okay.
Yep.
Because it's business at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You take your emotion and personal out of it. At the end of the day, if it makes sense and it's a business decision. I'm trying to think of a good clear-cut example, but there's been time. I got to think how to word that. There's times where you have to put your own personal ego and how you interpreted a situation aside. And look, there's non-negotiables, right? If someone treats you a certain way, it's like, screw you. I don't care if you come to me with whatever. I'm never going to work with you. But if they said no for a certain reason, or it just didn't click or whatever, but now it's coming back to you, you should still be open to what it is.
Yeah.
It just may not have been good timing on their end.
Agreed. And back to kind of what you said about if someone was mean to you. I had this really interesting opportunity, and it's still in the works, about a streaming service that kind of just went blank on me for a month. And however, some of my stuff is up and I'm like, it doesn't look good. Can you fix this? This is our last communication. Hey, can you fix this? And then also like, what's the status on blah, blah, blah. It's been a month. I responded like after a week, and then we're all busy. I come back and I'm like, I talked to my therapist about it. I talked to my family. I'm like, they're using my stuff. Like, I'm a little annoyed, but I want to be aware that that's just my ego and they don't owe me anything and who cares? And it's like, why is that a big deal? I should be focused on other stuff too. And then she responds after a month, hey, my dad passed away. I'm sorry. Like I need a little bit of time sorting this out. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm also guilty of that, of being, I worked so much that, at the hotel days for that 10, 12 years, that I would get like sick physically. I would work, I think when I first started at the Win, I worked for 3 months straight, 7 days and 4 nights, because we were open that much. And I got sick after 3 months, and I went into my boss's office. I'm like, I feel like I'm having a mental breakdown. Like, I don't care about anyone. I don't give a crap. I want to go back home. I don't know what to do. And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't have a day off. I haven't had a day off in 3 months. I want to be there. I want to be a part of this, but I'm like cracking. And he's like, I didn't know you don't have a day off. Take off Sunday. I was like, oh, really? So that led to, me having a little bit of like balance in my life. And I think that during that time when I have those breakdowns, I probably wasn't as nice to people as I should have been. And depression is real, and like, you don't know what people are going through ever. And a lot of times they just won't say it. And that student who, has autism, maybe prior to Big Head Bob, was really ashamed because he would say something in public and get ridiculed. And people are like, what's wrong with that kid? But maybe now they know that he's on the spectrum. He's a little bit different. He learns differently. He speaks differently. So that was a pretty cool thing. If I can segue into one of the best classes I ever went to, actually at the Win, it was called True Colors. And they offered these like team building exercises and all this stuff. I took all of these A-type personality, like wild hosts, these VIP hosts, and I brought them to this class. And there was like 20, 30 people at a time. I did it 3 times. And you take a quiz, 15, 10, 20 questions. Then you get divided: blue, orange, gold, yellow. And blue is emotional. You're a little bit more emotional. That's your behavior, Orange, you're a little more wild and crazy. And the other one was green. I'm sorry. Green, analytical. And gold, more of like organized and a sheriff and like, on your game. And then everyone's like, yeah, that's me. And everyone's like, oh, you realize that if you as a boss or a normal person yell at 2 people, you screwed up. You guys screwed up. You fucked up. This is embarrassing. The orange will be like, I got it. Yeah, no problem. The blue will internalize and be angry at you and maybe cry. You can't talk to people the same way because they don't absorb information. That was a huge like, whoa. I always thought this one guy was super lazy, but he's actually analytical. So I'm going to stop sending him on things that he hates doing and have him manage the schedule. And he's going to be amazing at it. I'm going to put this guy in charge of this because he's more organized and he's on top of his game, and I can trust him because that's his behavior and that's his interests. So I thought that was really interesting on how to like break someone down and kind of recognize like how they want to be spoken to. Because you just don't know by looking at someone. You just can't tell. It's like judging a book by its cover. You don't know what's behind it, and everyone has that. And I think Big Head Bob allows people to just, I'm embarrassed because sometimes I feel like I have a huge big nose. I have anxiety issues. I see a therapist once a month. Like, you see therapists? Like, yeah. Like, me too. Like, oh, hell yeah. You like it? No. Call your insurance. Find a different one. It's super easy. So that's my story about that.
I just flashed to Forrest Gump. No.
That's all I have to say about that.
One thing I did want to mention, all this is gold, man. I
Agreed.
Truly love this conversation. In the first book there, you talk about meditation.
Yes.
Correct? Could you maybe talk a little bit of just maybe a little bit of the anatomy of the book, like what all you're going through and discussing, especially in this first one? This was the first one, right?
Yeah. Holding? The Adventures of Big Head Bob Transform Your Weakness into Strength. Bob and his big head were frustrated at length. I must transform my weakness into strength. I'm tired and done with this aggravation. It's time I evolve and learn meditation. So on this page, I talk about sometimes we feel like this: angry, sad, annoyed. But we want to feel like this: calm, clear-headed. And we're all going to take deep breaths together. We're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. We're going to do it 3 times. We're going to help Big Head Bob. So that's what I do with the kids, and they love it. And we actually breathe together and we take a moment. But I guess when I started making it, I've never written a book. I didn't know how to do it. I had the intention. I'm going to make this. I got the character. what's the story? You either have the story, you have the character. I had the character. So I started drawing, like with Brian, actually, what would be funny scenarios about having a big head? Like, how about, you get a header in soccer, ha ha ha. Or how about you go scuba diving and you sink to the bottom because your head's so big. And so I started thinking of these like scenarios. And then I kind of realized when I was a kid, funny enough, because I'm an author, I had to have extra tutoring for English comprehension. So I had to miss gym class during elementary school, these formative years, and have one-on-ones and work on my English. I would go home, I would cry to my mom, be like, I want to be a normal boy. I hate missing. It's my favorite. I love gym class. My friends are asking where I am. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to tell them that I need special tutoring because I'm dumb. And that was the realization of maybe all of these funny scenarios of Bob having a big head and having a hard time is sad. And he needs to like figure out how to transform into something. So that was the first page is he's crying, about his big Bob head. So I kind of started having a little bit of the arc. I'm like, okay, he's sad. And then he goes to the beach and the bullies bury his head in the sand. And then after that, something that I do often, I meditate. And so that was one of the first goals I had when I quit the wind. I traveled around the world. I went to Asia for my first leg and then Europe for my second. And one of the first, learn meditation. So I took transcendental meditation classes in Vegas, in Las Vegas, and it was very interesting. And, one of the guys, his question is like, how come every time, I try to meditate, I fall asleep? And the guy, responds is because you're tired. He's like, oh, okay. And it's just kind of the basics of like, I used to have pretty bad anxiety. I mean, we're around thousands of people. There's pressure and people are angry and I want to speak to the manager. And like, this is the director. I'm like, hi, like I've been waiting this line for 30 minutes and I don't understand what's going on. I ripped off my glasses. I'm like, you can't talk to me like that. I don't know you. And she's like, oh, I was like, I'm joking. I'm just, I know you're stressed out. Like, I'm going to get you in right now. Let me find out what happened. And then I get him in. She's like, I'm sorry for yelling at you. I'm like, it's all good. That's why I was good in that position because I don't care. I just want everyone to have fun. Like I was the type of guy where there's a line of 3,000 people, maybe realistically like 1,000 people. We would do 3,000 to 4,000 in a day or night. I just kind of see like, oh, it's this person's like birthday and they're like all the way in the back, like, hey, come here. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm gonna get you in front of the line. Here's a round of drinks. And they're like, ah, it's awesome. So I want that same like surprise and hospitality and fun and kindness into the Big Head Bob. So I guess when I started to like take care of myself and meditate, it allowed me to hear my brain, my inner thoughts, my traumas, everything, and just be like, just breathe instead. Because when I had anxiety, I would like have trouble breathing. And so I would try to learn meditation. It's like breathe in for 6, breathe out for, I can't. I'm trying to count my breaths. I'm distracted. Transcendental meditation I liked is because you don't count, you don't think, you just say your mantra. Mantra, mantra, mantra. Oh, I'm thinking about this. Mantra, mantra. Oh, my YouTube video. Mantra, mantra. And then all of a sudden, lights out. And I wake up 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, like I had just had a cup of coffee. It's a beautiful thing. But, it's the same thing as like, you're not going to just get on the basketball court and make your baskets or learn how to dribble. You have to learn and practice. And so I remember a pretty major turning point when I was meditating and I was like, it's been 10 minutes. I'm meditating. I don't get it. I'm not getting there. I'm not hitting my transcendental on. And then I actually laughed out loud. I'm like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to have your inner thoughts come out and calm it down and go back. And I was like, yeah, I am practicing. I am meditating. It's just, I'm hearing myself, my internal thoughts. And so it's been a huge part of my life because it's calmed me down. It's allowed me to be professional at a higher level, I feel, and deal with stress. And it's just like, I also, practice jujitsu. And after I tap out 6 times in one night, having a phone call to someone from a really important deal is like not that big of a deal. I just got choked 6 times until I like have to tap or else they'll kill me. So I think that utilizing meditation was just a natural thing for me. And after he was able to do that, you know, for example, one of the first pages is, you know, he went to see a movie, but he didn't think about other people's perspective. And so after he meditated, he went back and he's like, I'll just sit in the back. And the girl next to him shared her popcorn snack. And now that he is able to be like, oh, I'm in people's way. I have this big fuzzy head in front of people. And I thought that that was a really cute way to kind of tie it up. I'm like, he has a big ass head. Why does he stand next to the net instead of just trying to kick it? He'll get a header and he'll score and he wins the game. And, you know, so I think my last page is one of my favorite, but I do have to say kids love this. He has such a big head. It's like an umbrella. So the way the sun is shining, he's like, hey, would you like some shade? And people are like, you're so thoughtful and sweet. But the last page is life is a roller coaster with ups and downs. Always try your best with smiles and not frowns. Stay positive and breathe is what we say. Just wow, it was one heck of a crazy day. Has anyone read to you on the show yet?
You are the first. I think I read something one time when I was doing them on Zoom.
Yeah.
But not like this.
Go.
This was great.
Cool.
Yeah, no, this is, it's funny because maybe we were going to end with something like that, but you just totally did it. And like, I love
the end.
The end. No, not yet. But I love it because you're making people okay with accepting how they were made and working with what you got. You know, I
really kind of just did it for my nephew and for myself at first. And then you quickly realize like everyone feels that way.
Sure. And
I keep getting this reinforcement that like this is needed, or I love the amount of times I cried because my friends would send me pictures of them reading it with their kids. And I'm like, you don't get to see this like intimate time with families. It's just not something you even think about. But then like, there's my best friend from childhood, like with the book I wrote for my nephew, reading it to his kid and they love it, or they're watching, or there's a big head Bob in French, Baba Grosse Tête sticker of like him as a Picasso on a garbage can right in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's just pretty amazing to see where Bob is traveling to and who identifies it. And it's a very familiar feeling is one of the most common things I hear about it. I've seen that before. I'm like, no, you haven't. But actually, maybe they have now because it's been 4 years and there's stickers and social media and stuff. So it's kind of like made its way back to me, where it's like, hey, I'm seeing this as a big octobob with all these tentacles, and now you kind of get interested in one and you see the others, just like we were talking about, and it's fascinating, man. It's really fun, and it's like a game, and I hope it continues forever.
I love it. It will. And David, this has been spectacular, to say the least.
Agreed.
We're gonna have to do another one at some point in time
when we get
the sponsored one.
Mm-hmm.
With the
we'll be somewhere very bougie.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? It can be about anything, can be more about Big Head Bob. Anything else that you would want to say in this discussion? And you will get the last word at the end.
Sure. I think that when I had the inspiration to create the first book for Joaquin, it kind of turned out that it's not just for him, it's for his generation. And he now has a younger brother, Emiliano, and I can't wait for him to like kind of latch on. I've told Joaquin so many times, we call him Keeney. I'm like, Keeney, do you know why I made Big Head Bob? He's like, why? I made him for you. And then he came, we did a sticker event with, it's called Sticker Zoo Designs. He's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and he goes to these college campuses around California, and 100 kids, college students, will run across campus, ditch classes to get. It's very, very smart. What he does is he designs their mascot, but in a different type of way, like his own creative way, and he'll give them out for free. And so he does these sticker drops, and you know, Sal, Joaquin's mother, and Emmy's, she forwarded me this Instagram. She's like, you should do a collab. And I was like, yeah. And I messaged him. He's like, I've never done a collab before. I was like, dude, what do you want to do? Like, what are you trying to do here? And we had a Google Meet, And he's like, I don't know how to do this or do that. I was like, I'm done most of the things you're trying to do. Use me for any reference that you want. I'm happy to help you. I want to do an event at UCI, University of California, Irvine. And I think that because it's May, Mental Health Awareness Month, and the month we can have people write like different notes to like positive reinforcement notes. And then the next time, which will be our event, we can pass them out along with the stickers. And so they all came, like my family, Neil, Sal, Brian. Like, it was just to see Joaquin, like see a crowd of people around. And I did an event. I read at the like the Orange, what was it called? LA. It was called the LA Kids Book Festival in West Hollywood. That was like the first time they didn't have a children's book festival. And I got to read it in front of an audience, and Joaquin was there, and like his dad was holding the book for the crowd. And it's such a family affair. And I'm really grateful that it's taken us this far. And I'm so excited to see when it goes to television or when it goes to like production on a major scale of like how we can still incorporate all of our friends like yourself and family and people that have been there from day one. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I hope to do a book tour and get the old like bus and just visit schools in every city and just have fun and have like Big Head Bob bus. It kind of worries me, but it would be awesome.
Heck yeah, maybe the podcast bus will be right behind you.
That would be so cool, man. I've been able to go out to Salt Lake City in Utah to read to a school and around California. So my like tour days aren't quite there yet, but that's just another beast. Speaking of beast, I think early on, my goal was to be a Mr. Rogers meets Mr. Beast. I want to be like that fun, educational, kind, wild, a little bit of everything and sprinkle that Vegas glitz and glamour on it. And that's Big Head Bob.
Dude, like, I just got goosebumps you saying that. That's like everything I know about you and like all my experiences. As soon as you said that, and now I'm like, oh yeah,
that's it.
Well, I was going to ask you one final, as we were heading out here, the future of Big Head Bob, but I think you say you want to do more touring. You just want to keep going, right?
The future is get a publisher so I can get into more stores and get more. I do worry a little bit about freedom, but I don't know. I don't know what it'll look like. I don't need an advance of $50, $100, $200,000 and then pay it back with sales. Maybe I do if it's a good deal, but I'm uncertain about what a publisher would be able to offer aside from like, you can't get a TV deal if you don't have a publishing deal. You can't be in Barnes and Noble and have like a physical book if you're not, if a publisher doesn't sell it to you, like Penguin Random House or whatever. But I don't know. I'm sure that's why I love Mr. Beast so much, is because he is his own publisher. He's his own chocolate factory. He's his own everything. And I hope to do that, but it is infinitely impossible. But why the fuck not? Life is short. Let me jump for it.
Swing big, brother.
Swing big.
Swing big. And it's cliche. It's overused, but it's so true. Aim for the moon, and if you miss, you're still in the stars.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing.
Still works out. Eric, do you have anything as we're rounding?
No, man, I think it's cool because clearly your trajectory is kind of mapping itself out. I guess by society standards, like making it is once like all the big money comes and all that. But really, like you kind of already have made it. That's why I think this is a really cool time in your life. Mm-hmm. And that this is going to be a cool podcast, hopefully you to look back at. Because like, oh yeah, you're in that middle ground that Sam's talking about. But man, if you're just looking at it, you clearly already, the pieces are just lining up, and like every day you're chasing the synchronicities. You're letting it morph the way it's gonna morph. Yeah. And like, you've got a really strong plan, and like, yeah, it's just a matter of time. Like you said, timing. So it's just really cool to have you here sharing your experience, letting know like, hey, I've got all these things and I still got a lot more to do. But yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I just had some flashbacks to the licensing expo. I shifted from doing all of these class visits, and most of them are free, but I'm trained to say, do you have a budget? Can you buy 10 books? Can you buy 50 plush mellows? Can you get stickers? Like, is there any budget? No? Okay, cool. I'm still down. I want to go. I want to talk to the kids. And you know, I had a conversation with my uncle who has been absolutely instrumental in my career, in my life, Uncle Elliot. And he said, he's like, look, if you keep doing these classes, you're just not going to make it. You're going to run out of money. I was like, yeah, I feel like every time I do it, I have a better connection with a school and a district and students and parents. But yeah, I need to be harassing these people who harassing, like asking for help and developing exactly what I need. And so I spoke to one of Felicia's connects at Disney, and he goes, you don't need more development. You don't need more stuff. Go to the licensing expo. I was like, yeah, I was there last year. I walked. He's like, no, have a booth at the expo. And that's a huge expense. And it took 4 months of my life, but we did it so well. And the city of Las Vegas supported me, man. Wynn Resorts paid and helped me design and print my 8-foot by 10-foot banners, my 6-foot by 10-foot side panels. And I had this TV. I had a claw machine from Claw World, which is a local business. This guy comes up. He's like, I love this. Oh, you got a claw machine. That's so cool. He's like, so nostalgic. What's Big Head? Blah, blah, blah. And I look at his badge and it says Hasbro. I'm like, ooh. But one of the things that you said was people said, like, you're very established. You seem established. And I was like, I don't know. But I am. But I will feel that way when I have positive net income and like full-time staff. I'm very I'm comfortable, but I'm always forcefully like trying to grow. It's just like going to the gym when you don't want to work out. Or I gotta say, I most time hate going to jujitsu, but when I'm there, it's the best time of my life. And I know I need it. And I know sometimes I'm going to beat someone's ass, and sometimes I'm going to have to submit and lose and learn about why that guy was about to break my arm. You know, I think that it's important to kind of, you know, seek discomfort and try to do things that you know are for your benefit. One of the hardest things in my life is waking up and not looking at my phone. And I have on my notes, I have a grid of morning routine. When I wake up, grab a glass of water, write in my journal 2, 3, 4 sentences, take my dog out for a walk, and then look at my phone. Morning routine. I've got it like 10 times this month, and that's the most ever. And I know that I read the research. It's not good to look at your phone first thing in the morning. It overwhelms you. It's like, but it's all I do. And I think that I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be, you know, have a huge impact. And my purpose in life, my goal in life is to leave a legacy. And I think once I recognize that, it really helped me with what I was doing with my time. And I only recognize that through like a therapy type session. Is like, my dad left my life when I was 20 years old. You know, he missed out on this and that, and it caused all these problems, and that's not going to happen to me. I'm going to leave a legacy, and everyone's going to be happy about what I did for them. And I like, whoa, I've always been saying I want to leave a legacy, but now I kind of know why. Is I want to leave a positive impact on people's lives, period. And once I realized Big Head Bob's the vehicle for it, oh, I've been drawing it for my whole life. Oh, Felicia likes it. Oh, this guy likes, oh, this teacher, this guy, everyone likes it. Okay, cool. Keep doing it. So when a kid in a classroom tells me to make him into an ice cream cone, I will make Bob's head, the ice cream and the cone, and I will make it into stickers, and I'll send it to the school. And it's like, they'll have that forever. And it's such a cool thing to like design something with an author or producer or whatever. So I feel like I'm established, but I'm also so excited to look back on this podcast about what we're talking about and like, oh man.
Remember those golden days? There was a struggle, it was real.
Yeah, next time we'll be doing this show at the Wynn Penthouse. They'll sponsor it.
And by the way, Las Vegas Stand Up, man, that's awesome how they supported you.
I went on Fox 5 News. Like that was a huge one. And it felt like I've been doing people favors for such a long time. And in a way, I mean, getting someone drunk or getting into a club or a restaurant, like what kind of favor is that? It is.
It is. No,
it's an experience.
When you're at certain nightclubs and it's a Friday or Saturday night, and you're the only reason they got, that's a favor.
Yeah, that's true. So I want to continue doing that. I want to continue. And that's what I feel like the internship is. And I say to these college students, like, screw up. You want to learn Amazon shops? My shop stinks. Go on Big Head Bob on Amazon, type it in, go to the store. I'll give you the password. You sign an NDA. Don't share my password. Don't write a book about me later in life. I don't know. I say that sometimes. So it's just been, it's been an adventure. Yeah. And I love it. And I love, I think that if I wasn't doing this podcast wouldn't be the same. We would be talking about what I was doing at a different hotel or venue. And I can always go back. That's like one of my favorite things about still being here. I can still go out and see friends that work here. That busser is a manager. That manager is now a VP of operations. And I would love to go back to the Wynn and have parties at Allegiant Stadium and work with like world-renowned brands and do these things. But I'm pretty set on Big Head Bob, and I think that that's my plan in life.
I love it, brother. That's incredible. I mean, I could keep going here, but I think that energy that you ended on, like you're in your passion, you're in your purpose. I mean, look what you've manifested, man. Look at this. Besides the Sam Dever podcast hat that's on Big Head Bob.
I'm signing to Sam Dever podcast team. 2024.
I love it. I love it. For those that, oh, there it is.
It's a pillow. You can buy it on bigheadbob.com.
That's what I was going to say. Where can people go? Where do the people need to go to find Big Head Bob?
We're on all social media outlets, but bigheadbob.com is kind of the hub for everything. We have 26 blogs from college students discussing mental health and education on the website. And we're actually putting it together, and it's over 100 pages. I'm going to publish that as a book soon too. It's really cool.
I love it. And again, you've developed other characters.
Long Neck Lisa, Blinky Stinky. Yeah, we got a good crew.
All right, brother. Well, David, thank you so much for this experience. And thank you to Eric for making the trek. We're on the, we travel in LA, but this is a different type of travel, like coming in like this. And you're our first one as Eric and I working together. And this has been a beautiful experience. And it's a true joy to know you, man. It's been a gift to meet you. And I cherish our times, our experiences. And this is one of the main reasons I wanted to do this podcast, is to have conversations with individuals just like yourself. And I mean, you were speaking to me the entire time, man, as others too. But like, everything you were saying, I'm like, oh, dude, this is great. I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And big things have already happened with Big Head Bob, but bigger and bigger and bigger things are coming soon, my friend. So keep up the good fight. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you, bro.
I always give the guests the last word. You've already given us so much. It can be as deep or as shallow as you want. How would you like to end this podcast?
I would like to end it taking 3 deep breaths with you guys, if that would be okay.
Let's do it.
We could, if you want to join in, that would be great. Or you could fast forward, but breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. In. Out. One more. Breathe in. Out. Don't you feel a little bit better?
David, thank you. I do feel better, by the way. Yeah. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sam Dever, the Sam Dever Podcast here, and I just want to thank you for checking out this episode. To watch and listen to future episodes, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. Thank you so much. See you soon.